So it's loading. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and notify everybody
Great.
that we are on. So hopefully everybody's doing awesome. Scott is going to be doing a beautiful reading for us this evening. There is a lot of stuff going on in the world. We've got a big shadow that's moved through. It's not done yet. And that has to do with creation energy, which is going to change a lot of things. And I'm excited to see what this reading has for us. Also, there's going to be a lot of changes out in the world. So that's what this reading is about, Mr. T and what's happening, because that actually is like an instigation for a lot of other things to happen. So we're excited to actually do this. So, and now everybody on Telegram knows that we're live. Okay. So hopefully everybody's doing awesome. And it's been an insane day. So hopefully you guys are feeling okay and doing okay. Um, and I'm just grateful that the internet actually worked so we could do this tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I'd hate to get up at 6:30 in the morning for nothing.
I know, no
You,
kidding. I was like, oh God.
but you get up that time every day, don't you?
Usually, yeah, we do. Even though John is not working anymore, so he's left his business and we're kind of getting ourselves organized. And I'm in the house today, so John's outside while I'm recording. Um,
Oh, yeah, you're
because the
not in.
internet would not work in the
Yeah.
camper. So it's been a very discombobulating like day to day, but
Everybody,
everything's
hi
good.
Lucy. I'm glad to see Lucy's here. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I wake up early. For some reason I want to sleep until 8:30, 9 o'clock, but I can't. I wake up 6:30 in the morning, but I like to wake up and then do nothing until 8:30
Me
in the
too.
morning. All right.
Me too.
So, and thank you for having me back on your channel. This is great to be over
Yeah,
at your.
welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And I think this is really fun. I love doing the lives. So I'm
Me
glad
too.
that we got to do this during the week. Yeah. So very
Uh-huh.
exciting. And if you guys have not seen Scott before, he is a brilliant tarot reader. So we're doing a reading today about what's going on. And Scott will probably tell us the questions that he's asking because it's a pretty big reading that he's doing.
Yeah, and it's really not a question so much as it is. Well, it's a what I'm going to be doing today is called a Houses of the Zodiac spread. Um, And this is something that's kind of new to me. So if I seem to be fumbling with it, it's because I'm still learning. It's probably maybe the only the sixth or seventh time I've done one of these. I did one on my show Sunday night live, and that was for the fortnight. And I just love using that word. The next 2 weeks. And it's the 12 houses of the zodiac. So it's 12 cards arranged in a circle. But on that night, I got 5 out of 12 major arcanas. And yeah, it says that the next 2 weeks really looks like something big is coming. There was a tower at the very end of the reading. And that house, the 12th house, is the unconscious part of. And I was doing that reading for the collective. So something with the unconscious, something that some revelation, a deep revelation, and deep in the unconscious happening sometime in the next 2 weeks. Now,
That makes
whether we
sense.
see whether if we see it, the fruit of it or not, that's a different story. Okay, and so
Yeah.
today what I'm doing is it's a the Houses of the Zodiac spread for Mr. T. Um, from because of what happened a few days ago, and what are the repercussions of that going forward. And the way I'm doing this is up until the time when we put the ballots in the box in November. Okay. So what kind of things are we looking at? Like, will he be put in jail or, but there's a lot. So let me just get started. I want to give these cards a good shuffle.
Yeah. So there's so much that's going on, you guys, right now. And it's reflecting the astral realm. Like there's a lot of healing happening there, and a lot of big shadows are being resolved and going home. And this last shadow is so enormous, like it created huge waves. So that's going to create huge waves here on Earth. And one of the waves hit my internet service, but in general, like it's made people feel unwell. Like a lot of people had colds, all of a sudden fevers, hospital visits, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
So I wonder if that's what happened to me 2 days ago.
Hmm.
Uh,
Probably.
2 days ago, well, first we had a flash flood here a couple 3 or 4 days ago, which happens every year. It's no big thing. But the day after, my air conditioner stopped working well. It just would only work just enough to keep it under 90 in my room. And just the heat, it was normally I'm not affected by the heat. So I go outside and I look up at the sky and I'm like, what's going on up there? And there's this bullseye of clouds centered almost over my house. I mean, there was like a hole in the center and then these concentric rings of clouds right around my house. And it felt like this dome of just heat and pressure. And that whole day, I couldn't feel well. I just was hot and uncomfortable and irritable the whole day. And then the next day, it seemed like that pressure system or whatever it was just lifted and went away and I felt better. So I wonder if that what you're talking about was that.
Yeah. Next time that happens, tell it to get away. You don't consent.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm cards are shuffled. I'm ready to cut. I do want to do one thing, honey. You're gonna help me here.
Mhm.
As I'm shuffling, I want you to tune into the cards and help me connect with the Akashic records. And you tell me when I should stop. Okay, we're gonna do this one time
Okay. Stop.
right there. Let's see what's on the bottom. Oh wow, Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so this is like the atmosphere for the entire reading. And Ace, that's new beginnings, new ways of something new with our physical bodies. Well, this is for Trump, so something about money too, possibly. Put that over there. All right. Oh, we have to bring in the cards.
Yes. So let me do that. Cards are being admitted.
Okay.
There we
And
go.
cards. I hope this works. This is the first time we've ever tried this live, people, so give us a minute.
They don't seem to have a camera.
Oh, I have to accept, that's why.
Oh,
Because it okay.
there you go.
Get this in my little holder here.
Oh, there's the doggy there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, this will work out all right. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, so we've cut the cards and got my notes here how to start. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first house of the zodiac, which is in the house of Aries, and this is um, the ego.
Mm,
and self. So it has to do with the appearance, how he appears to the rest of the world, and you know, the ego in the sense of the term as we know it, right? Not you know, I'm better than anybody else type of thing. All right, so let's see. The first card for that is death. Wow.
ooh, ego death. That's a big
He's
one.
going through a death of the ego. So you know, it's like it must have had a really big effect on him being found guilty. He must have thought that he was gonna get off on it or something, or not be convicted because this was a huge shot to his ego. He's been deflated by this a little bit, but it's
Hmm.
also transformation. There's something he went through some type of dark night of the soul at that time. If you looked at his face when he came out of that courtroom, I've never seen him look like that, right? Okay, now the next house is Taurus, and this is uh, physical uh, wealth and resources, his wealth and resources, and we know that that's been taking a big hit. And we got temperance. Wow, you know, I thought to myself when we're doing a reading on Mr. T, we should be getting big cards, major arcana. If we had a bunch of small, lesser cards, I think it was strange. So I'm not being disappointed here with temperance. And so we also know that he's taken a big hit financially, right? That he's
Hmm.
been hemorrhaging money in huge amounts. But temperance is coming together to make something stronger. And this is what happened right after he got convicted. He got all these donations, right? And it's also a galvanization of his base. So bringing
Hmm.
people together, they're not going to let him struggle to you know have money for his campaign. So it looks like and also bringing all of his resources to bear on the problem. Okay, you know it's also notable that there's an angel in this card, and it's like um, it's like a protection. Wow, I just got this sense of Saint Germain is involved in this somehow. So do you remember Saint Germain?
Yeah. Yeah, the good version of him.
Yeah.
Because there were some parallels where he wasn't so great either. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like he's run the gamut, but it's the good version of him. Yeah.
All right. So the next house is in communications, right? Communications, and this is how he's getting across his message and how it's being received. Oh, so he's got to normally after a trial's over and somebody had a gag order on him, it gets lifted. In this case, they didn't lift the gag order on Trump. Am I correct in that, honey?
Yeah, I get a yes. There's
Well,
things that we
I
don't
really meant
know about.
no, I really mean like because in the news, I haven't watched the news in a couple of days, but I think I heard that he was not allowed to talk about things still. So
Hmm.
so that or he's holding back. He could be holding back a lot of information that maybe we're just not ready for.
Hmm.
So so with communication, this is a two of swords, by the way, and that is you know blocking communications. So there's let's see. And then communicate. Next house is home, Cancer. Okay, so how are things with him at home? And Queen of Wands. Hmm. So there's been a lot of talk about Melania. Like she's not really his wife now or something. Do you know anything about that, honey?
I don't know if she ever really was,
Mhm.
like um in their hearts, I'll say, but they both had the same goal. And I feel like they still do, but maybe things are getting ready to change a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Queen of Wands at his home. So,
Is Juan's conversation or is that
actually,
swords?
wands are, yeah, swords are thoughts and words. Wands are passion and spirit. And
Mm,
there's there it's this is from his home. And the only women that we know would be there, well, his daughter. Well, no, not in his home in Mar-a-Lago. So I want to say that this is the divine feminine that's been coming in over the past decade or so, a couple of decades, I think. Um, and
that's the shadow that's being cleared as well.
oh yeah.
It's the divine feminine. Yep. The womb
So
energy creation.
he gets a bad rap for um, being a womanizer and for not treating women well and things like that. But I think the truth of the matter is he really has a feminine side as well in his
Hmm.
home.
He's also really good with women, I think. It's just that, he hasn't been in a one person relationship the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
So in his home, there's a woman who is in charge of his home. Let me put it that way. And he respects that, and I think he has a better, like you said, he has a better relationship with women than what we're told.
Hmm.
Okay, so our next house is Leo, and this is creativity, and he's got his hands full. So he has a lot of responsibility with being creative, and I guess now that he's in the election, um, coming up with creative ways of getting his message out there is really difficult for him. Well, he's tied up all the time with these other
Yeah.
court battles stuff.
Well, I feel like that was a marker, and he didn't really expect it to go as far as it did, that marker.
Mhm.
And also to be like stuck with it for a while. Because a
Right,
lot of things have just like washed away very quickly for him. And this one didn't because it's time for things to actually happen now. Like everybody's sick of waiting.
right. So he's just having a really hard time coming up with a creative way to um, to get on the campaign trail again. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So the next house is daily routines, and this is about his health, which is a big issue. A lot of people are wondering if he's gonna, make it um, physically through all this, and also like his scheduling and things like that. Oh, well, isn't that appropriate? Judgment, because he's in courtrooms all the time. Um, Judgment and renewal as well. Um, I've
Yeah.
heard talk of him using med beds, and I think that's what's going on here. This is how he's able to physically do this every day. Do you know, I couldn't do the schedule he has. You know what I mean? Physically, it would exhaust me.
Hmm.
Um, so
His
he's
brother's
being,
also a substitute once in a while, I've noticed.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if I was going to get something like that, a doubles card or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think this is giving us a confirmation that he has access to med beds. And so
Yeah.
that's how he's able to keep his constitution up and keep his energy up and keep doing all this. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
And the other thing I think it's a nod to his daily routine is that he's being judged all the time, so he's in these courtrooms. So that's part of it, judgment. Okay, check my time here. We're about halfway through, so that's good. Let's see. Relationships. Now, this is the one that's his relationship with his wife, Melania, if she's actually still there or what's going on. So, oh, it's the Five of Cups. So yeah, she's not really Melania is not really his, there for him. So this is not about
Mm,
Melania here. Can you look at this, honey? I'm coming back to this home. Is there a woman behind the scenes or something? And
yeah,
who might that
somebody said
be?
it in the comments as well. I feel like it is Diana. Um,
Yeah, that's what
but
I was thinking.
yeah, so we'll just wait and see if that actually shows up publicly or not. And you guys can intuitively know if that's a yes or a no yourselves, but that's what comes in. Yep.
Mhm. So, he has some disappointment about his love life. Well, not, I, it's hard for me to come up with this word. So I think that as a person like that, it's impossible to have a fulfilling, loving relationship and be someone like him. If you understand what I mean. So he's never really been able to fulfill his desire for a close, loving relationship. And that's kind of sad, actually. And you look at the
Yeah.
card, it's
A
kind of
simple, close relationship. Yeah.
right.
Because
Yeah,
there's too much interference.
right. When you take on responsibilities like he has, then that's a part of your life that just goes unfulfilled. He's had
Hmm.
some, but for the most part, it's been a life of just oh, I knew we were gonna get this card. All right, so I got goosebumps right now. Change. Oh wow! And this next house is big changes that are coming. All right. So
Hmm.
guess who's back in charge? It's the emperor. Um, somehow, I mean, I know most of us don't believe that there's going to even be the contest in November. Somehow, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, this is what we all know too. He is in charge. He
Yeah.
is the pres now. So the change would be that this is about to be known sometime between now and the election. The truth is coming out that he's been in charge all the time.
Yep.
Wow. I'm so excited, honey. I, I was so nervous about doing this because you're doing a reading on Trump. You got to get big cards and you got to get the emperor in there. Whew. Okay. So the next house is growth and transformation. Did I get that right? And that is in the house of Sagittarius. And it's new beginnings. And so this could be a new way to rule. So not president as we know it anymore. Maybe even a new government is coming in, a new kind
Yeah.
of government. Now remember, I'm doing this just for the next few months until November. So if this is accurate, and honey, we can't pin
We
down
don't do
things on time.
times. Yeah.
And I did but sometime in our future, in our near future, we're going to have a new way of governing that Donald Trump is going to usher in. Yeah, I said his name one time. Okay. All right. And so our next house is social networking. All right. Let's see how that's doing. And that is the Seven of Pentacles, and it's growing. His base is growing. People are starting to get on board. And another thing is this is my late September, well, fall. This is my fall card in fall.
Mhm.
So I think you're going to start seeing a groundswell of people in social media starting to get behind him even more, and and start to mature. So this, when you get this card, you have the fruit is not quite ready yet, but it's growing well and it's on its way. So we have a growth in his social networking. So I think he's going to start gaining more and more support from society on a whole. Okay, and then the last card is his subconscious, his unconscious, and his hopes and dreams. Did I wait a second? Did I do this right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I got that wrong. Purpose.
Two more. Oh,
This this card was 10, and it's like your life's purpose.
yeah. When you laid it down, I got abundance. And I thought of the R and the V.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, okay. In the place of purpose. So,
yeah,
right, bringing in. Okay, thanks, honey.
yeah.
That helped out a lot. Um, but I want to point something else out that purpose. Um, it's like why you're here, but this card is a ple indicates the Pleiadians. So there's a connection. His purpose here was he came from the Pleiadian star group,
Hmm.
and I know we're not supposed to feed our egos and be proud, but it's something I'm actually really proud of because I've never heard another tarot card reader or anybody make the connection between Seven of Pentacles and the constellation Pleiades. One day it struck me as I was looking at this card that the way the stars and the pentacles are laid out here looked like the constellation. So I went and I got it somewhere. I got a screenshot of the constellation and I superimposed it over the Seven of Pentacles. And sure enough, if you take those stars and squish them down, they have that shape. So he has a connection with Pleiades as well as
Yeah.
his purpose here. That's
Hmm.
really cool. Okay, so let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 10, 11, 12. Okay, next one is this is the social networking. Oh, well, that's quite a bit different. The Ten of Swords, resignation. Hmm. Honey, I'm drawing a blank
Um,
here.
well,
So,
it's part
so,
of the
so,
transition because he's going to make a transition, I think,
hmm
in his role, and that's what it's going to be. And that will be socially known, and it's going to be confusing for a lot of people, I feel like. But it's necessary and has to happen. So what I always got is that he will become an ambassador. So an ambassador to like the other, like a galactic ambassador.
hmm
So he'll be speaking not just for, the United States, but for the entire world.
hmm
Yeah.
All right. So, I'm wondering if, because I think of social networking as, the internet. Um, I wonder if this is some kind of change in the way he uses the internet or he uses his social networking too. An ending to the way he's doing it now. I'm not sure about that one. Okay,
It
now,
feels like he's going to come out and be more frank about things,
mhm,
like telling the whole story.
right. All right, and here, this is
He may
the
get
last.
canceled on some things too. Who knows? Like that's possible.
That, yeah, that might be. He maybe, and okay. So thanks. That just gave me an inspiration that they're going to try to block him on social media and on the internet, stuff like that. That might happen. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, Time leading up to the ballot box time. Okay. Now here's the last card. And this is the one that is his unconscious hopes, dreams, and desires. And, and, huh. And this is the first time where you see he's human and he has, like all of us, he puts on this amazing show of confidence, but the truth
Hmm.
is deep down inside he struggles just like all of us do. So
Well, and that's why he's empathetic to humanity too,
uh
because he is one.
hmm. Okay, so I think I'm gonna leave it there, and you can put the cards away on the
Okay.
screen.
So we're gonna also talk about we're gonna go in and look at some of the other questions, but I want to answer a question that popped up several times in the chat.
Okay.
And that is, but we're watching a movie, right? So we are watching a movie, but you have to remember that we also have a lot of control of this movie. Energy is everything. Energy is what makes up every single thing that you see. And we are attracted to the movie. So if you let go and you say, yes, this is going to be beautiful, and you release it to the universe, you're going to get that back. If you hang on and you're like, I'm waiting, waiting, waiting for something good to happen, then the universe thinks that you're waiting and that's what you like. So it's important that you think about what you're actually thinking and know that you are also the director of this movie. So the collective has had a huge influence on how long this has taken. And also the hats that are white have had a huge influence on that as well, because not all of them were ready for the movie to end. But I think that that's been resolved at this point. So you have a lot more influence than you think you do. We are not just being controlled by a director that's outside of us. We are also the director. So keep that in mind. Our subconscious is really contributing to this movie. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to get into these other questions a little bit here too.
And when I hear that, I want to say I don't know why I keep coming back to this, but be like Tom Bombadil. And if you don't understand what I mean, just go and look up the character of Tom Bombadil in Lord of the Rings. So
Mm,
I looked a little bit more into that Ten of Swords too, and it's mental
uh-huh.
exhaustion. Mental exhaustion from the social networking too. That's the other thing. The
That
guy
makes
is
sense.
he is human and he's taken a toll, you know. And he's
Yeah, I
literally
mean,
been stabbed in the back, you know. And if you look at the card, the Ten of Swords has got 10 swords stuck in his back.
mhm.
So that's the other thing.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, he is just like been through the ringer, and the length of the movie, I don't think that he expected it to last this long either. And I
Hmm.
also don't think that he expected for that court thing to be so severe and also to not get turned around faster. Like to have the next step happen faster. But I think we have to remember that everything comes from the souls. So you have the solar flares and you have all this stuff from souls. We're in a construct that we have contributed to, and we're here learning. So the souls have a big impact on what happens here. They have the most impact. And remembering that and remembering that we're in a thing that's much bigger than the political thing that's going
Hmm.
on is really important because this is like a 26,000 year ending to something that has been not good for humanity. So it's a really big deal what's happening, and it's really wonderful because it's finally happening. And it's not just the political stuff, like people are awakening everywhere. So there's no way that it's not going to happen. And we can speed it up by allowing the universe to bring in what we're asking for, just by releasing it and trusting that it's coming in. Okay, I'm off my soapbox.
You know, I'm really glad that you mentioned how the political part of it is really a small aspect of this. And it's like it really is tiny compared to the larger picture. And it reminds me of how mushrooms, okay? So, you know, when you see the mushroom growing in the forest, you see that little cap come up. The actual mushroom is this organism that spans kilometers or miles of square miles underground. That the mycelium, that's the real body of the mushroom. When you see that little mushroom pop up, everybody goes, "Oh, great! There's a mushroom. You know, we can eat that or do other great things with it."
Mhm.
and and that's Donald Trump. The mushroom's Donald Trump. The mycelium that spreads all throughout the miles and miles of forest, that's the whole rest of the thing, you know, the parts of
Humanity.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
that's the
humanity,
rest of the
the
collective.
cosmos,
Hmm.
yeah, everything, all,
Yeah,
all the consciousnesses that are involved in this. So
yes.
I hate politics, and I hadn't voted until the last one. I'm sorry, the one before that, the 2016. I hadn't voted since Al Gore because it was after Al Gore. The 2000 election with Bush and Al Gore. After that, I was in Florida, and I know that it was rigged. Okay, then back then, and I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. We might as well, just be pushing a button on a play play toy, when we go into that
Hmm.
voting booth. And so I don't like all, like yeah, Donald Trump's great. I love him and all, but I don't know. That's just the mushroom. The real
Yes.
body of work is hidden below the scenes. So I wanted to add that.
Okay. Awesome. So,
Oh,
I want to just get into these questions, and I totally agree with you. Like, we're upgrading the cosmos at this point. Like, it's the entire universe that's changing. So, there's a lot of questions in here. If we don't get to them, I will try and get to them in another show. Um, Anna Bauer is asking, actually, maybe I shouldn't have said the whole name. Sorry. I'm wondering if many ghosts or spirits are visiting me daily. It's your shadow that is poking you in the ribs. Um, so you need to deal with that shadow. So you guys, there's all kinds of shadows running around right now, and they're our own shadows. So let's say you have a near accident and then you almost, I don't know, hurt yourself while you're chopping vegetables, like whatever it is, usually right now it's a shadow. It's a part of us that needs to be healed, that's trying to get your attention. So make sure you heal those shadows. And if someone is not aware of that, ask if they're willing to heal their shadow. And you can ask for their angels and guides and soul to deal with the shadow. And they will if the lesson has been learned. And that comes through for the sister of Pramila as well. So it's really important that we deal with our shadows right now. The souls have to heal. So as the souls heal, then all the polarity goes away because we're learning how to be a family again. All the soul families are learning how to be a family versus being basically in a game where they beat each other up. Because that's what they've been doing is learning through polarity. So yeah, that's where I am with that. There's a lot of stuff like that. So I want to show you guys something fun. This has been kind of a big question that's been going on a lot. We can get your take on it too, Scott.
Okay.
So there's like people are wondering what it looks like to see a UFO that is in a cloud because there's a lot of clouds that are kind of funky.
Hmm.
And if you see a whole bunch of uniform clouds, and especially if they're flat on the bottom, that usually means that it's a UFO. Now, if you see a whole bunch of little puffy clouds all in a line, that's a battalion of UFOs. And they get really excited when you notice at this point. Like some of these are UFOs. I would say a huge amount of them actually. And one thing that's interesting to me is that you can really tell when they're a weird color. So they'll be like a slightly grayer color than the rest of the clouds, and the edge of them will be darker. So the edge of the cloud itself will be darker, and that is like glaring to me. Now, I watched somebody say something that I've said several times recently that the sky is a TV screen. Like basically, we're looking at a hologram, and that somebody started talking about it on TikTok, and I was so excited because nobody ever says that. But we are seeing something that isn't really real. Part of it is that our eyes are accepting that as the real thing. Our eyes and our brain, mostly the brain actually. But we are looking at something that's not completely real because the sky is actually a slightly different color. It's more of a periwinkle color. And that could be something that shows up for us once we're ready. I've been asking for it for years. But that would be a present and a beautiful gift for humanity because it would create change with no conflict. So let's just see what happens. But I think those are great. And there were tons of them out yesterday and the day before. So just a tremendous amount of UFO activity. And I think that's because the shadow had shown up, that enormous shadow, and they were kind of keeping humanity calm through that. So they came down further than they normally do.
I was sent something recently from it's Dr. Greer, the
Mhm.
ufologist, just released a huge amount of information on a website, and they're calling it disclosure. I don't know how much hype this was. One of my viewers sent it to me.
Mhm.
Um, But one of the things that these commentators were saying is that the ETs have been going given the go ahead now to start appearing much more uh, in the skies. It was about a year and a half, 2 years ago when I saw my triangle, the big triangle in the sky, and so yeah, I think now's the time to start looking up and seeing and be seeing more of these.
Yeah. And if you can afford like night goggles, I think they're like $100 on Amazon.
Really?
Go out and look straight up. So lay on a blanket and look straight up at the top of the sky, not where the planes would be flying at lower altitude. That's where we saw the most UFOs in Sedona when we were on that tour. So there's just amazing amounts of them. And they're not cloaking up there at night. So I don't know, we must have seen like 60 of them, I would say, that night. So what is the difference between the mother wound and the divine feminine healing going on right now? So the divine feminine healing right now is about creation itself. So not all beings are created in a womb. The mother wound is more about the like the coming of the baby through, all the stuff that has been put upon the mother. And that was healed a little while ago. This one is bigger, believe it or not. So it has to do with creation itself. And what happened is humanity kind of agreed. So, not kind of, but they did agree to go through this third density experience. And when they did, they knew that they would have to drop their frequency. So the women, the feminine, agreed to be under the thumb of the masculine so that they were in a fight with each other all the time. There was always some kind of incongruous behavior going on. So it caused polarity. And all the things that happened through that were really hard and horrible, a lot of them. So it's the wound, that's the wound that's healing. Like it's huge. So it has to do with the masculine and feminine coming together. And this is going to help with relationships. It's going to help with projects that are coming. It's going to help creating the new world, the golden age. So it was a huge shadow and it's made a ton of waves.
I drew 3 cards on this, honey, and it's pretty
Oh,
cool
good.
as you're speaking. So the three with the 3 cards, this is the objective fact of the matter, and it's marriage. This is a marriage card. This is a coming together, as you said, of the masculine and feminine. And then the explanation is how really women have been subjugated or in a diminished role because the she's not royalty. She's not. She's more like a maiden in the court, right?
Mhm.
Almost, yeah. And then but here it's completion. It's the world. This is the world, and this is where she's going. She's coming into this fully development of
Yeah.
the divine feminine. And I just want to say that I owe my life right now to the women in my life. Um, it's something I've been wanting to stress to everybody when I got a chance, when I had a larger audience, that starting about 6 or 7 years ago, I was on some really hard times. And if it wasn't for my sister and my mother holding me up during that hard time, I wouldn't have made it. So those 2 women first, my sister and my mother. And then when I was at rock bottom and was just about to lose it all, it was first a woman named Stacy Bryant. Uh, I was just trying to start my career as a tarot card reader, and she liked me, and she started putting my name out, and she had Janine Morageau's ear, and so she sent one of my videos to Janine, and then Janine's the next woman who really broke it for me. All she talked about me for like less than a minute one day. And it wasn't even about me. She was doing one of her home videos showing her home. She goes, "Oh, by the way, there's this tarot card reader named Scott Yates. Go check him out." And the next day, my life had changed. And now, honey, I work with you, and I work with Elisa and all these women in my life who have really helped me to become what I am today. So I want to say thank you to all the women out there. On my channel,
Mhm.
like 75% of you are women. And thank you to the Divine Feminine for helping me become what I am today.
I'm sure
Thank
the
you, honey.
Divine Feminine is very happy that you're here because you've definitely helped the Divine Feminine. And that's what it's about right now, like during this shadow time, because we're basically this is the completion of creation coming back in, creativity and creation energy. Yeah.
That- That's why the world showed up in that.
Hmm.
Oh, and real quick, I looked up the night vision goggles here. We don't have Amazon. I have something called Lazada. 1,140 baht, which is like 30 bucks. No, I'm sorry, $20.
Wow.
Wow. I have to get me one.
Yeah. So you just want to make sure you lay down and look straight up, and that's when you're going to find them. We were sitting in camper chairs, like, when you go out in the wilderness, and we were doing this for like hours and hours and hours, and our necks were all, mine
Yeah.
anyway, was not in the best shape after that, but it was amazing. It was amazing. So I highly recommend it. Um,
Do you have to be somewhere special, honey, or do you think it's anywhere you can do that?
I think you can do it anywhere. I don't know if you'd see as many as I we saw in Sedona because it's kind of a hub, but
Right.
I think you're going to see them no matter what. Probably, maybe it'll go from 60 to 20 or something, or 60 to 30. But we saw so many, I got tired of looking at them. Like, because they're just speeding across the sky and they all look very similar. So you're like, okay, well, my neck hurts and I've seen them all, so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
look down now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen what you're talking about. I've seen videos of it, and it looked like there was like a war. Now, this was like 5, 6 years ago, and I
Hmm.
think it's from, oh, what's his name? James Gilliland. You've heard of him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and this was could have even been 10 years ago. He's like, Star Wars are really happening above us right now. And then he showed this video and it looked like they were fighting. Is that still going on, or what are they doing up there?
No,
Is it
the fourth density stuff is done. So we don't have any ETs that are in the fourth density here anymore. Now on the 3D Earth, because we know we had the split happen already. On the 3D Earth, they probably still have that going on. But I don't ever see any of it. I don't feel any of it. I talk to the ETs all the time. So no, we're good. And I didn't see any of that in Sedona either. And that was probably like 4 or 5 months ago. I don't know, quite a while.
I have a quick follow-up question on that, along the same line. I've been, I don't know why, I've been watching these Conjuring movies with what are their names? The Warrens.
Oh, I
Um,
don't know.
There are these two people who, back in the 60s and 70s, they would go around and do exorcisms.
Oh, those ghost people.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
Warren,
and they were
but
married.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it seemed like at that time, because we were starting to come in, approaching the threshold of the golden age, so there were a lot of possessions and evil going on at that time. I don't think they can do it like that anymore. That
Mm-mm.
am I right there?
You're
That
right. So if somebody's getting possessed now, it's probably a
Uh-huh.
shadow of their own soul that's hassling. It's not like a demon or most of that has been dealt with. So those are the shadows of the angelics, and they've been taken care of. They've been reintegrated or they've gone back to source. It just depends on whether they were willing to heal or not. But I mean, in general, we really don't have a whole lot of negative things here anymore. Most of that's been healed and it's been a lot of work. But it is really looking good right now. So just concentrating on that and being willing to heal your own stuff is where I would say where I'd focus right now.
Well, that's going to help me with my clients because I get a lot of clients who feel that they're under attack by some type of demonic or something like that. And usually it's not. And then they kind of get upset when I tell them that. But now I can explain to them how this is their shadows that are
Yeah.
coming in.
And they can
I had one
ask their
client.
angels and their soul to deal with it. And your inner child can basically say, deal with it, you know, like, I'm not okay with you not dealing with it. Quit bothering me and deal with your stuff,
Mhm. Great.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to help me next time I get a client who has an issue like
Yeah.
that.
And there are
Ed
some
and
people that
Lorraine.
are asking, what were you gonna say?
No, their names are Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Oh,
Those two
yeah,
people, and yeah, they did a lot of great work, in their time here on Earth.
they really did. And those were some really brave people because it wasn't as easy. Like everything was so dense at that time, like it was just so much harder to get anything done when it came to like clearing things and stuff. Like right now, you can basically just say, I don't allow it, I'm done, and push it away, and it's over. If it's somebody bothering you, unless it's your shadow, because your shadow will keep coming back. And we have a lot of shadows. We have to remember that we come from a really big oversoul, and a lot of those beings that came out of the oversoul were shadow beings because they were playing the other side of the polarity. So they need healed. Um, there was something I wanted to say. Oh,
Yeah.
if you're curious about what to do, and worrying about timing, because this came up in one of the questions, it's important to release expectation. But if you're like planning something, let's say it's a court case and it's financial, it's something to do with finances, plan it lightly, do an outline. Don't put all your energy into things being rough on you. Give the universe a chance to fix things and actually expect that more than the other. So, like when I paid land taxes, I waited until the very last minute to do so. And I didn't think about them. I didn't worry about them. And they were probably a few days late. And I just sent them in when it was time and really didn't give a whole lot of emotion to it. So it's really important if you don't like something to not give it a lot of attention and just kind of roll with it, but expect the best to come to you.
Honey, it's so amazing when you do something like that, and then I threw three cards, and it just echoes exactly what you said. Right. So the fact that this is all those things like taxes and the structure of
Mhm.
government or all these things, and this is do and don't. Just exactly like what you said. Do the least amount you can do to get by, and don't worry about the big things. So I like
Yeah.
what you're saying. Wait at the last minute, and then we've got something going on here in Thailand where they're going to start taxing foreigners on the money that they make from abroad. And a year ago, I was all worried about it. You told me back then this was back like in maybe I think January of this year. You told me back
Mhm.
then, don't worry about it. I don't think it's going to be a problem for you. And and now that I'm looking at it, yeah, it looks like I'm just going to ignore it. And it looks
Yeah.
like they're looking for little fish like me who are making just a few $1,000s a year, not even in the anyways. Um, so yeah, I'm going to take your advice and the advice of the cards right here, and I'm just going to do the minimum I need to do, and don't worry about the big stuff like that.
Yeah. And, personal tax is voluntary. So remembering that is important too. I haven't felt like the states are quite as okay with that when it comes to like house tax and, land tax and stuff. I feel like that's still a little sketchy,
Hmm.
as far as not doing it, but it could switch at any moment. But states are actually they have more power than the federal system.
Right,
So
right.
it's important to remember that. Yeah.
That's what
Um,
I've been getting repeatedly from my clients when they ask me about paying income tax. Don't have to worry about it. But things like property tax and state tax, those you still
mhm.
need to worry
Yeah.
about. Hi, Joy
Okay.
King. Just want to say hi to some of the people I know
Oh,
in the chat.
yeah.
Hi, Joy and Cherie. Thank you for being here too. I knew you would.
Yeah. And shadows will give you nightmares. Also, what you're doing in the astral could be freaking you out because maybe you're dealing with maybe you're a guardian and you're dealing with shadows and you're corralling them even, and they're trying to freak you out and scare you. Um, so why are there demon-looking cryptid things? So that's a good question. Um, so we have several parallels that are all together right now. And if you think about what's going on right now, if you look at the world, some of the things that are going on with movie stars and some of the things that we've known about for years, it's like they're resurfacing in a much bigger way. And this stuff is surfacing also because it's another form of disclosure. So there are people that are just awakening and they don't have the knowledge that we already had. So there's a few of these things. I feel like they were planted there to go on those game cameras. So, like, don't worry yourself about them. Um, they were really prevalent probably 2 or 3 years ago for real. And now it's like, show them everything. Like, we have a flood out there of information right now because it's time for everything to come to the surface to be transmuted and cleared. And also, there's that second group of awakeners, and they're awakening in, unfortunately, a lot of the same ways that we did, which was hard. So keep that in
I'm a
mind.
little bit confused on that. The demonic looking cryptids. Um, are we talking
Yeah,
about
there's these
fairies and elves?
weird looking creatures. No, they're like all limbs and pale, like a skinwalker, like looking very strange with limbs that go the wrong way, like um
Mhm.
so and a cryptid I want to say is some sort of spider, maybe. But
Well,
anyway, they look very weird. Um, but they were around 3 years ago, 2 years ago, in a much bigger way because I was helping people deal with some of them sometimes.
the
Yeah.
cryptids are creatures that are not in the scientific record, like
Oh,
Sasquatch,
okay. Yeah.
things like that.
So Sasquatch, I don't really feel is dangerous, and we will see a lot more of Sasquatch.
Yes,
But these
I got
these things
I
that
did a
are
reading a while back and say he's going to be coming out soon, and like contacting people, and a lot of people have. How to Hunt, the YouTube channel How to Hunt, he gets all kinds of information
Yeah.
from Sasquatch.
Yep. So, just keep that in mind that all the information has to come out, and a lot of it is not for us anymore. If you already knew about this stuff, then don't keep focusing on it. It's for the next group of people that are awakening. Yeah. And the Witchy Homestead loves Sasquatch. So that's awesome. Okay. So I want to answer one more question from the emails before we go. So I'm just going to look through those. Um, oh, somebody's going to be asleep during our show. Okay. Oh, so these are cool. So let's do this. Um, so this is from, I gotta share screen. This is from Michelle, I think the name was. And mandalas are really coming in right now. So she's been getting obsessed about drawing them or coloring them. So a mandala is like, that's how the universe is formed. And a mandala is actually a spiral a lot of the time. Um, and that's what the bridges are. The bridges are to higher consciousness. So those are important. I don't know if this is going to go to the next one. Yeah. So she's been coloring in a lot of these. And what she's doing is she's a grid worker. So as she colors, she's actually creating things in the astral plane. So when you're making art or you're doing something beautiful, you're also doing it for more than just yourself. So remember that. And she has come into one of her gifts. This is one of her gifts that she is. So it's Roseanne, but this is one of her gifts here. And just enjoy yourself with whatever gifts are showing up. Don't feel like, oh, well, I don't know big magic, so I don't have a gift. Because this may not look like big magic, but it certainly is in the astral plane. So she's creating and doing a lot of beautiful frequencies for the collective right now.
So you can buy, and this is a question. Can you buy mandalas that are black and white, and then you can color in the
Yeah,
shapes?
yeah, totally. Totally. If
I
you like to do art, do art, it doesn't have to be a mandala. Yeah.
I've been trying to think of some kind of hobby I can do other than sitting in front of a screen all the time.
Mhm.
And I came across a paint by numbers in my shopping, online shopping. And that's something I did as a kid because I'm not very artistic. I'm not, at least I don't like the way my art looks. Anyways, I was thinking about doing that, but this just gave me the idea of getting some blank mandalas,
Mhm.
and filling those in. And one more thing, when I was looking at those, it reminded me of the platonic solids, and this is something I was for some reason they've been on my mind. If you don't know what the platonic solids are, it's the five shapes that are supposed to be the building blocks of the universe.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've seen it recently, but this is something that just it's brand new. It's come from Joe Rogan, and there's a this African American guy. He looks like a rapper, right? But he's some kind of
Parents.
mathematical genius, and he's figured out a new way of doing the periodic tables that's like a spiral. And it's hard for me to explain, but it's like we're evolving from a universe that was built on platonic solids which were all, if you look at them, they're all straight lines. They're all angles, straight lines and angles.
Mhm.
And it's like a low resolution. It's if you were creating like a video game, this is how they create things on videos. They use little triangles, but they're so small and the resolution is so small that you don't notice them. They become curves. But when you zoom in on them, you can see the angles and the lines.
Yeah.
So it's really a low definition way of seeing images. But curves, everything in the universe is actually curved. I'm going to put this together in a more cohesive way to explain it. But we're making this evolution from these platonic solids to this more unified curvature of space and time. I'm going
Yeah.
to work on it and bring it. Hopefully, honey, you can help me do a show on that in the
Yeah,
future.
that would be great. I feel like the fundamentals of the universe are important. Spirals is what make up everything. And that also helps us. So time is circular. Like there's all these things that we've been taught that are not right. And Terrence Howard has a conversation with Joe Rogan.
That's who it
And
is.
yeah, he's actually talking about somebody else's math.
I
Most of
knew
it
you
is from
knew you
somebody
would
else. Yeah.
know it.
But he's channeling. So, and I'm not sure if that's really him. I get it's not the original Terrence, but basically he's channeling in information. So be really aware that a lot of people that are like right there in front of you are talking to their higher self or maybe even the universe in that moment. If there's a whole lot of very interesting things that need to be, see, do you know how viral that thing was? That was such a viral video. And it was a gift to people for awakening to say that no, maybe those systems didn't really work that we've been taught, and there's something else that's been hidden. And he was the one to reveal that. I think some of the things are his, and a lot of the things are from another scientist that may even be passed away at this point. Like it feels like it was quite a long time ago that that other guy came out with it, and I don't remember his name, but he does mention it in the interview. So,
Sharon Howard. Uh,
yeah,
you're right. That exploded onto the internet, and when I saw it, it just like struck me. Like I knew there was something really important here, and and then he talks about the platonic solids and how that's like the old way,
hmm,
and and for some reason the platonic solids have been on my mind, and now I understand why. This was something that was just about to burst into the human consciousness, and I must have been picking up on that. What was his name?
yeah,
Terrence Howard, right?
yeah,
Trying to find.
Terrence Howard.
Oh, here it is.
So, okay. Well,
About to wrap up.
I'm gonna see if
Real,
there's
real quick.
anything.
This is the way. So you've all seen the periodic table. You probably can't see this very well, but you've all seen the periodic table. It's a big rectangle, right? Well, this is
Yeah.
the way he's rearranged, or whoever has rearranged it, and how everything works together in this very perfect way. It's just amazing. I'm gonna have to go watch that whole video. I've got Spotify. I've got Joe Rogan on
It's three
Spotify.
hours long, so I
Is
watched
it?
the beginning and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch it later. But, I knew right away like how important it was because it was an awakening tool, and it had such a big reach.
Hmm.
So when you're looking at something and you're wondering like about it, try and look at it from like a zoomed out perspective, even if it's in your own life. And then it helps you kind of see what the purpose of it was. But that was a gift for awakening, and it went over really well.
Oh yeah.
So,
I'm I'm gonna have to spend more time on that. I immediately knew that this was something big.
mhm, it was a big one.
Yeah,
So, and there's going to be a lot more. It will feel like a flood. I already feel like we're in a flood of information right now. And with the energies being so crazy, like it was like an extra addition to the flood, but that shadow getting healed is going to create an enormous flood. So I would say get ready. June's going to be a very interesting month.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
thank you so much, Scott. I'm so glad that you got to come on, and I'm excited for whatever next Sunday that we do. And
Mm-hmm.
we go
Oh,
every other Sunday on
sorry,
Scott's channel.
sorry, because we kind of got off our regular pattern. I have Elisa joining me next Sunday night.
Right.
She's
Good.
going to
Yeah.
be telling us more stories from the 4D wars. So I'm looking forward to having Elisa back. You guys, please join me on my channel. The easiest way to find me is search at Scott A. Yates. That's Yates, the spelling of my last name. And
Mhm.
yeah, Elisa's going to be back with me, and that's Sunday evening at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry it's so late, but that way I don't have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then we're going to be taking questions too. She's also someone who can look into the Akasha and look into your past lives and concurrent
Mhm.
lives, I should say, because everything's happening all the time, all at once. And and so yeah, join us
Yeah.
there. Elisa is wonderful to listen to.
Hmm. She is, and it will be really great to go to Scott's channel, which I will put below, so you guys can go and follow him. And I'll join him maybe the week after. I'm really excited just for,
Whenever your next Sunday
yeah,
evening is available. Mhm.
yeah. So that'll be really good. And I'm also trying your new nutrition product. So I'm going to let you
Oh,
guys know how I feel after like a couple of weeks. Yeah. So, and I feel like there's a lot of conscious business that is being created and put out into the world right now. And I don't feel like the ones that are just out to grab money are going to be doing very well in the future. So keep that in mind as we create projects and as we invest our time in other businesses. If they're not consciously trying to assist humanity, then they probably won't do very well in the future.
that's
So
right.
keeping that in mind is important too.
And I can tell you that I am 100% convinced that this product is here to help humanity
Mhm.
mentally, physically, and financially because you can actually if you made it a business, you could actually make money on it. But honey, you said you started using it. When did you start it?
I started yesterday, so immediately the inflammation went away in my
Yeah,
system.
that's
So
amazing
yeah, it
to
was
me.
like 2 hours and the inflammation was gone.
Yeah.
So that's
I,
pretty good.
let me give you a real quick anecdote of how this affected me. I started trying to get my body in shape last fall. It was cool here in Thailand, and so I started walking, and I got up to like 3 to 5 miles each day that I exercised, and I could do it, but I'd get home and I'd be completely wiped out. I'd have to lay down for at least 30 minutes. My feet would be throbbing, and I'd have to take a power nap, and then I'd be okay. And then the
Oh,
hot season hit, and I'm trapped in my room with the air conditioning for the next 3 months. And finally, it rained a couple of weeks ago, and I got out and I did my walk. Well, I couldn't believe I did 3 miles in under an hour. I've never been able to do it that fast. I was practically jogging, which is something I don't like to do. And when I got home, I had no desire or need to lie down and rest, and my feet didn't hurt. And so I'm like, when have I felt this much endurance and energy? And honestly, it was back when I was maybe 40 years old. So I kind of feel like I've been de-aged 20 years. But then I
Mhm.
ran out about 10 days ago and my energy levels and everything just dropped. So I can tell you that the effect that it's had on me, I feel like it made me 20 years younger. And I've been
Mhm.
using the gel on my face, and I have this dark spot here. And I was just looking at an old picture of me on my passport, and it's like this big black blotch here. It's almost completely gone now. So, by the way, if
Yeah.
you order a case, 4 bottles, it's like $160. It's a money back guarantee. So you've got nothing to lose if you do. If you want to learn more about it, email me and I'll send you a link to my website for a see it. I'm so glad it's
Cool.
helping you already, honey. That was so fast.
Yeah, it's fun. I've been discovering a lot of cool products lately, and I really just appreciate that people have kind of put themselves out there on the line to like create businesses. Not everybody appreciates that, like how much work goes into that. And I do LifeWave as well, and I just absolutely love it. It's really changed a lot of things for me, and I do feel like I've turned back the clock. But I think he invested something like $4.5 million in that one patch. So it really is important that we acknowledge that when we're getting annoyed that someone is like peddling something. This is something that we're going to be investing huge amounts of money in our projects. And if somebody has a money block, they may think that that's a really bad thing to do. So they may not appreciate you for what you're out there getting ready to create. So it's important we tune into each thing individually versus like creating a blanket statement for everybody. And I think there's also been a lot of feeling that if you're a healer, you should do it for free and you should be a martyr to your patients. And I feel like that's also not really appropriate. So there's just a lot of stuff that we're weeding through, and money blocks has been one of them. I know, people get upset if you're asking, and I don't think that it's inappropriate to spend all your time and then ask to be compensated for that. And right now, that's with money. In the future, it won't be. In the future, money will go away and it'll be another form of energetic exchange that goes on. So just, think about that as you get ready to create your projects, that you work on your own money blocks that you may have and your own belief system about money because you are about to come into a bunch of money. And when that happens, you want to be able to use it in a beautiful way and not have belief systems in the way of using that.
You said that
So,
so well, honey, and I so appreciate that. And you've helped me with my money blocks about 6 months ago. I was going through it, and you're right. And yeah, the when I first became an associate for the ASEA, you and I were about to go live, and before you came on, I took like maybe 15 minutes to talk about it, and then back on the replay, somebody's like, "Yeah, I had to skip over the infomercial, the commercial. There's always somebody trying to sell something," and that really triggered me. And I'm like, no, I'm offering you something here that can help you. It can change your life physically and make you better, and and something I believe in. And then you denigrate it to this, base thing that you're just trying to make money from it. And I'm very conflicted about. I hate selling things. Um,
you're
but
just
the way you
sharing. That's the
right,
thing, though. You're
the way
just
you put
sharing. Yeah. And if somebody is attracted to it, then they're attracted to it. If they're not, they're not.
And like I said, money back guarantee. If you buy a case of this, 4 bottles, it's like $160, and you go through that case and you say, didn't feel a thing, it didn't change my life at all, get your money back, no harm done. Maybe you wasted some time. But I can tell you without a doubt, if you go through a case of this, that's 4 ounces a day, 2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces at night, 32-ounce bottle, you're going to feel remarkable changes in yourself for the better.
Which is really good because I didn't even follow the directions and I felt a little better because I didn't do the 2 ounces at night at all. So
Okay,
I'll do that tonight.
this is the minimum you should do, honey, is
Yeah.
2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces at night, and don't just drink it like a beverage. You hold it in your mouth and you swish it around for at least 30 seconds. Did you do
Ugh.
that?
No, because it tastes like soap.
Yeah, it'll get better. I promise.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
just
thing,
guzzled it.
everybody talks about the strange taste or the bad taste of this. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you should
So,
do that because it's going to get into the capillaries in your mouth much easier that way, and it's a much better way to get it into your system. So I know
I'll brace myself. Yeah.
yeah, I
I
know,
can do it.
but it will change too as you do it. The that weird taste will change. For me, it tasted like pool water when I first started it, which was kind of cool because when I was a kid, I was always in the swimming pool, and so it brought back good memories. And somebody told me it's like dust. It's got a dusty like flavor to it. Oh well, so
Yeah, it's
we should
funny.
go, right?
Okay, well, thank you guys all for watching. It was so much fun. And we will continue. I will continue to get to the questions that ended up in my email. Okay. All right.
I'm
Thank you,
sorry
Scott.
we didn't have more time for the questions, honey, but
Well, we can do it. We can put them on the next show. So,
right.
yep, we'll just keep on going.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be in your house for a change, and thank you to
Yeah,
everybody who tuned in. And come over and see me on my channel sometime.
I will. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
I was
Thank
talking to you.
you.
Check
Oh,
out the
yes.
the spread I did for the next 2 weeks on my channel, my last live. All right. Good night,
Yeah.
honey. Bye
Good
bye.
night. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thanks, everybody. Bye bye.